Hello, hello, ladies. Oh, you hear Stella in the background groaning. It's her. But welcome, welcome. I'm excited that you're here. And today we're talking about the power of putting yourself first and the mindset to do so. So my name is Becky LaFave, a business coach where I teach you simplify, I should say, your business to increase the results to hit your first 6K with my Simplify to Amplify program. So really, I help you focus, right? We all need focus. Drop in focus if you need focus. To stay focused, and what really matters the most is what I really help you achieve and moving forward on how to do all the things that I'm doing that helped me create my first six figures. But today I want to talk about really the power of putting yourself first, because let's talk about this, ladies. We all struggle at some point putting ourselves first. And if you did put yourself first, were you told that you were selfish? Okay, because that was coming from people that didn't know how to prioritize putting themselves first, or they had told them, somebody had told them, let's face it, that that was selfish. Putting yourself first was selfish. And really, as an adult woman now, you know that not to be true, right? So I want to share with you some tips that, some of the things that I failed in to help you see the light to help yourself grow. I always love to give examples, things like this, because when you hear it from somebody that's actually went through the thing and overcome and created something in their life, that helps you see yourself and others. It just does, right? As a woman that's been in business for 33 years, I've seen a few things, or I've been around and witnessed a lot of things, and have talked to a lot of other women, a lot of people that I coach, and all of these same factors. And it might be a little different for you, but I want you to hear in my story your own story, okay? And so I've always followed my intuition. Now, did I know that's what it was called? No, I just had this really strong belief. I really don't even know what to really honest to call it. Everybody always said I had confidence. I really, okay, I didn't know what that meant. I was just doing Becky. Okay. So other people look at Becky and go, she's got all this confidence and she's got all this. I was really just being Becky. And I didn't know any different. You know why? Because I loved people. I loved talking to people. I loved sharing my heart. I loved having fun with other people, right? And so that's what Becky was her entire life growing up. And that's who Becky really is today still. But in between time, things happen, right? And so, as a very young girl, I always listened to that inner guidance. We might call it universe, you might call it God, intuition. I believe it's God speaking to me, and that's my intuition taking over so I can actually hear Him speaking. And either you act on it or you don't, right? There's a lot of not acting on it. And so, or maybe you haven't quieted enough to actually hear it to act on it. Or it might be something so big that you're scared and you're like, am I really hearing that? Because I'm guilty of that too in my own life. And so always listening to your own intuition. But I have to tell you, as I was transitioning into being a coach online, right? Being in the business for 33 years, a brick and mortar business, and transitioning that into a different, but still having all the knowledge as a business, having all the knowledge of being a woman, having all of the knowledge of having that right mindset, and learning the tools that I needed to learn to be able to support another woman online. Put it all together, and that's how I became the business coach online, right? And so I want you to think about this for yourself, because when I came to this online space, now Becky listened to her intuition. I want you to think about this. As a young person, really, these are the important things that got you to where you're at today. And sometimes we discard them. So I really want you to think about this, okay? So, we have difficult times sometimes in our life and we can't really hear that voice. So, you might be having patterns that show up from your childhood. So, if you had been doing something your entire life and you're in this transitional time of your life, right? Because that's women just like you that I speak to. And they've had this career or they've had this whatever, okay, and they really are passionate about something and they want to get it out, they want to create their own business, they want to be their own coach, and they want to create something to get it out into the world. Well, that's what I really do help you well with. And here's the things that's going to show up. These are going to be patterns. Okay. So I want you to recognize these patterns because they're going to show up, and you probably know them. So you have to pay attention to them. So number one, your childhood thoughts. What are your childhood thoughts that you've carried into this adult woman that is still not serving you, right? Because we all have them. We all have them. What about labeling? Have you ever labeled yourself? And do you have any boundaries? Do you have any boundaries? Those are the three things that I can tell you that has really hurt me in my life. But never knowing I had choice. Okay, still being Becky, showing up as Becky. But a lot of that did hinder me showing up as big as I'd like to. So let me go over this. Childhood thoughts, not feeling smart enough, not feeling I was enough, right? Because I always wanted to be liked. I always wanted to have the girlfriends. I'm first and foremost a big opponent to having girlfriends. I love having girlfriends. The interaction of women, I have always loved it. That's why I've always worked with women. And, that area of not being enough would really show up sometimes, which I would always push it down and get myself in the room anyway, because I really wanted to be around other women. So if you feel that way, I totally understand. And the reason why I talk about being labeled is because I didn't know as a child, okay, I just thought I wasn't smart enough in a certain area in school, that I wasn't a good reader and writer, but I was so good at other things. Becky's not just one dimensional. You are just not one dimensional. We are made up of so many other things that, okay, so I sucked at school and I got D's. Like, who cares, right? It's not, I never looked at that as the end of the world. Now, I know of some of you, that is a big deal. And I had to be at the top and I had to get the A's, and I had a daughter just like that, right? It is a big deal. It wasn't for Becky because I just didn't place it that big of importance. I placed who I was and the life that I wanted to live to be the bigger importance than all the other stuff that was like going to get in my way. And so since I really wasn't good at that, what did I want to focus on? And it wasn't something I even discussed. It's just something I moved into. So if you're overthinking this, if you're putting too much pressure on yourself, I'm sure this is what you're doing to yourself. Okay. And so when I was in my 40s, and I decided to go down this road. I really want to coach. And what does this look like? And all my clients that I've had for all these years say, Becky, you are so powerful. Becky, you could help so many other women around the world. Becky, because I would pour life into them while I was doing their hair. I would pour life into my girlfriends, to everybody around me. I was always pouring life in because guess what? Becky was always learning, always wanting to be a little bit better than I am today, always thriving to the next level of Becky and sharing, just because I thought if I'm doing it, somebody else wants to hear it, right? And I did it out of love. I did it out of caring because I remember years ago, if you have some knowledge that you know that could support another, why would you ever save that for yourself, especially if it's helped you in such a tremendous way? And I always said, shame on you if you don't share. And what they decide to do with it is none of my business. I share, and if it serves, great. If it doesn't, it's none of my business. But it was always on my heart to help, first and foremost, right? And so that is a CEO mindset. That is the mindset of putting myself first and being the CEO of Becky first and caring about secondly what others for others, right? If I know I have something to give. And so this third thing was boundaries. Girl, now I have to say I had the hardest time with boundaries. I still somewhat do. I've gotten better at it because I've had to do different things in my life with people and other things that were very toxic that I had to create boundaries. That was super hard for me because it is not in my makeup. It is not in my makeup to set these huge boundaries that to some other people are just like, wow, I can't believe you did that. Some things you have to do in life to really make sure that you are putting yourself first and other people that you care about first. So toxic people, boundaries, right? Boundaries with knowing your time, right? Having clients, and always put all my clients first before me and before my family, always. And because I was so driven, I've always been driven in my business. I've been driven in a lot of places in my life. And that was always such a drive for me. And so I had no boundaries, right? I had no boundaries. And so the prices that people paid from still living in my childhood, still believing that the label, and still having no boundaries, the prices that I paid and the prices that other people paid were huge. So, what is the price that other people are paying right now? Because the three top things in your life, or four top things in your life that um, hurt you from being this, putting yourself first, for having the CEO mindset, fill in your blank, right? I want you to really write that down and think about this because this was the topic that I was interviewed on. And I had to really sit down and think about this. It's like, oh my gosh, right? The price people paid, me not showing up bigger in the world because I had this lack of belief deep down inside of me, even though I have been a very successful woman at 52 years of age my entire life. And I know to some people that's like, well, Becky, that isn't my story. It's not your story, and that's okay. What is your story? This is my story. And this is the biggest part you need to learn about you and your business so you can really serve other people is what is your story, right? I'm sharing you part of it right now. And me not be able to support women in a bigger way, not showing up in a big way and using my voice to reflect people that don't want to hear it and bring in the people that do need to hear my voice because you're going to get both. And we want both because guess what? I don't need everybody to love me. We don't. We don't. Right. And so the second thing was that, setting up the boundaries so that Becky still enjoyed her life. Becky had time to spend with her family. Becky had time to really be the coach that she wants to be to the women that she wants to serve, that are saying yes to stepping up and saying, I want what you have. Let's work together, girl, because I see that you got what I want. Right. And so, really stepping into your own success story, trusting in yourself more than you trust others, right? Trusting in yourself more than you trust others, because when you do, your guidance, which is, I believe, is your intuitive guidance, will tell you, right? That it is safe to be in this space. It is safe that you get to trust. It is safe that you are enough. It is fill in the blank for you, right? Fill in the blank for you. What is it that you're telling yourself and not putting yourself first? And not creating, on the opposite side, you're not creating that CEO mindset. So first and foremost, okay? So if you don't have a piece of paper and pen, make sure to grab a piece of paper and pen because I'm going to share something with you that I've only shared with my paid clients, okay? And so I want you to write this down. Now, I was taught this by a coach, and it really helped me see things differently, see a little bit more clearly. And so when I say, I want you to think about the first word that comes to mind, and this is called soul prompting. Listen in, listen into your soul, listen into your embodiment of who you truly are. And if you don't know, you're going to figure this out right now. Okay. So your soul prompt is, who are you? Right? Who are you? Now, I know that you're probably a wife, you're a mom, you're a sister, you're what, right? But who are you is the difference. Because whenever people say, oh, who are you? Oh, well, I'm a business coach, I'm a mom, I'm a this, I'm a that, right? No, that's great, but I want to know, who are you at the core? Like at the core of everything, who are you? Well, I can tell you who I am. I'm a passionate, loving, heart-centered woman. First and foremost, right? I have a lot of integrity in my word and who I say I am. I don't put up with bullshit, and I don't expect anybody else to. And I'm a complete badass on a mission to help 100 women in 2024 create the six-figure life that they desire. That's who Becky is. So I want you to think about, when you write down, who are you? Who are you? Next question is, so who do you want to be? If you're not sure who you are, who do you want to be? And that'll tell you exactly what it is, right? And secondly, or I should say thirdly, ask yourself, what is the difference? What is the difference? Because you need to mirror those people. Mirror those people. And most importantly, what are you going to do about it? Right? Figure out who you are and what's the difference. And what the difference is, get support, get help on what that is, right? Because that's the part that's what's most important, is get the support and help to become more of her, if that's what you're looking to be, right? You have all these things about you, but you're like, I don't have X, Y, and Z. Great. Who can support you? Who can guide you? Who can get you that? You have to say yes to you to get in it. That's the only difference, taking action on that. Okay. And here are some other qualities, because since I'm a business coach and I like to talk about this, now that you know who you are, now that you've gotten to the core of it all, right? I know who I am. I know what I want. There's no difference in between it. This is what I need support on, blah, 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 right? Okay. Now that you know you have the CEO mindset, now you need to know these four things. One, you need to have a clear message on who you are working with. I mean, clear. So many women I talk to are not clear. And that is the very first thing. But they get all these other things. Oh, I got the reel and I got the. It doesn't matter. None of those things matter if you don't know clearly who you are, on who you are serving. And that is the biggest thing. I tell my clients, if you're not getting a client, you ain't clear. It don't matter all the other tactics that you're going to do. And most of the time when I talk to people, they are not clear. So check yourself in that. Okay. 2, this is highly recommended. And as scary as it feels sometimes, you don't have a business if you don't have these 2 things. I'm just going to keep it real. A community and an email list. A community that you can, 3, nurture people in, see what's going on in their world, really nurture people as they're your best friend, they're your child. How would you nurture that person, right? And number 4, invite them into your world to do business with you. If it's a great fit, it's a great fit. If it's not, it's okay. It was an invitation to work with you, right? So here's the thing. You have to constantly be inviting people into your space, into your world. Your clear messaging will help people see who you are, will help people get very clear in wanting to work with you, that they understand what you do, right? So, here's the thing. If you are wanting to really set your 2024 on fire, I don't know if you've heard, but I'm getting ready to do on December 5th. It is a Tuesday evening. We're doing a strategy planning session. We're talking about vision. We're talking about the next steps to getting leads and sales. We're talking about all these things that you need to hone in on and stay focused, because remember, number 1 is focus. If you can't focus, you will not grow the business of your dreams. This is what changed for me that got me to where I am today. And I want that for you. Stay the course, stay focused on the things that matter most, right? We're so busy over here, over here, over here, over here, and we're not staying focused on what really pushes the needle. And we're so worried, right? Because guess what happens? What we talked about earlier, the childhood mindset comes back. All the things, boundaries of your time, not able to stay focused, right? We need some of these things put into place so we know. And you need to have a roadmap. Frankly, this is the thing. Most of you are just winging it. You've got to have a serious roadmap to what you're doing. So when you get off focus, because it happens. It happens. Why do you think these horses have these blinders on? Because if they didn't, they'd be all over the place and God knows what would happen. I need you to put laser focus goggles on. You will get a printout and I will run you through it. And that will set the course for you to the next level. So if you want to be a part of this, or if you can't make it and you want the replay, you got to make sure to grab the link. Okay, make sure to grab the link. So if you want the link, put link below to the strategy planning session, and I am going to give you all the goods. Yeah, look at Miss Stella laid out. All right, have a great day, and we'll talk to you really soon.